Okay, everybody, we are taking a look here at some ways that we can concatenate strings of text. Maybe we've alluded to this a little bit here and there with some of the message box stuff, but since we're working with strings a little bit more now, I wanted to get into this just a little bit more, show you a few different ways this can be done. There is an actual method that allows you to put two strings together. It's this string.concat, and then in parentheses you put the strings, the variables, or it could be strings of text in quotations if it wasn't in a variable, and that would put them together. So what this program right here does, there's not much to it. I didn't build in some of the things. You probably should have. Just has a label that's going to display the user's full name. I didn't do anything to take into account if they don't put anything in there yet, so it's not really a full-blown program here, but it'll serve our purposes of showing what we're going to do here. When you run it, you put in your first name, you put in the last name, and it puts those two together with the concatenation thing here into the label. Okay, so one thing you notice there is no space between there. Okay, and so that's kind of one issue with this. I would have to maybe put a space in there. There's different methods we could utilize to do that. One of them is just we can also, instead of using this concat method right here, what we could do is we could just say string first name. Oops, I'm putting too much in here. Okay, and I could just put that ampersand or and symbol and put last name in there as well. Here again, I'm going to have the same issue though of no space between them. So what I could do in here is use the and symbol. I could put quotes in here with a space in between and another and symbol. So now it's going to concatenate first name and this space and last name. Okay, so when I run that, put in my name here, it's going to put the space in between there. Okay, there is another way we could do this, and that is we could use this space function in here, and in parentheses we just tell it how many spaces we wanted. So if we wanted it to be a little bit farther than just one space, that's certainly easier than counting out 5 spaces when we put it in there, right? But that would be another option as well. Oops, so I put them both in one. Oh well. So now and I put them both in there for the first name. A little more space between what went into the first name and last name there, right? So we can use that as well. We really could treat this like an accumulator. If we just put first name in here like this, and we could just say, or let's say we change this to full name equals that, and then full name and equals that, and then we wouldn't even need, this is redundant in here, so now we're taking those and we're basically saying, and take the first name, add the second name in there. I didn't deal with the space in there yet. But now it has basically, just like an accumulator, it's not adding, it's strings of text, but it's concatenating, but I can take what's there, leave it in there, and put on the next thing. So I could and in a space in there if I wanted to as well. Okay. Another thing that you can do is we've got a couple of constants built in here, so we could and in VB tab is going to put 8 spaces in there, in between those. That's another thing I could do. I can also do VB carriage return left. And what that's going to do is drop the text down a line. Okay? So all of these things could be utilized together. If you're struggling formatting the text in a message box or input box or some other things, these basic string concatenation methods can help here and help you do that a little bit. So here we got this, and so put it in there. It tabbed over, which wasn't very far where the next tab was, and then it went down in line here to the next one. Okay, so if I wanted it another line in between there, I could just and in another carriage return or another tab in here. If it didn't go over far enough to satisfy me with the tab, I could put and another tab in there and basically line things up how I wanted. So I don't think there's anything really difficult or earth-shattering about this stuff. It's probably pretty easy to understand, but they're really helpful once you know that you have these things you can use to help concatenate and format your text.